Alright, so I got a little story I want to tell you guys. But to begin with, this is Pig Clover right here. I do streamings. I sometimes do streamings. I'm mostly an artist and a YouTuber, but I mostly do art stuff, so definitely check out my stuff if you like. But right now, I just want to tell you a story that started out kind of funny and it kind of scared the poop out of me. So, I really do apologize if I stumble and if I mumble a lot. This is the first time I've ever done like one of these types of videos, but I really just got to share this video because it did kind of scare me, but it's also one of those videos where you really need to be careful. So anyways, without further ado, let's begin. So my name is Pig Clover, and I just moved here to the state of Missouri. I've never been to Missouri before. This is my first time living here. My family lives in one part of Missouri, and I live in another. I actually live more in a kind of sort of a city part, but there's more business here. So I first came here, and then I'm right now living in a house. I'm renting a room and all that, and of course I'm applying for jobs. You know, simple stuff. So, anyways, I live in a pretty, not a ghetto, but it is a bit of a bad part neighborhood. And don't get me wrong, I did encounter some really nice people in the neighborhood. There are some really friendly people here in the neighborhood, so that's all good and go. And there are nights when I do hear like loud music blaring from people's cars, and I do hear some like shouting and commotions going on, probably from drivers or probably from miserable people. You know what I mean? I'm guessing you guys probably experienced that in whatever neighborhood you live in. Anyways, tonight or this one night, it kind of scared me. It started out kind of funny and it did kind of scare me. So I was on my computer and I was just looking at my old YouTube videos just to kind of reply to comments and all that. And then I heard a voice. I heard a voice outside. Now keep in mind, I live on the second floor of this house that I'm renting. So I looked outside of my window and I saw this man. He was now before I continue, I'm not racist. I'm not a racist. I'm not racist. I don't have anything against religions or races or people's nationalities or whatever. You know, basic stuff. So I saw this guy. He was a black man. He was very tall, very lanky, and I saw he had a black tank top and, of course, saggy pants. I really don't understand why people wear saggy pants nowadays, but that's beside the point. The real point is how this guy was moving. This guy was a few feet away from my house. He was on a sidewalk, and he was singing. He was singing, like rapping. He was rapping. He was moving around like he was performing at some sort of concert. It's kind of like one of those concerts or rap battles or whatever. Except he's basically entertaining no one but himself. And I saw what he was holding in his hand, and it was a beer bottle. It was kind of clear it was a beer bottle. I couldn't really tell how old this guy was because it was really dark. It was about 11 o'clock in the evening. And I first heard this guy when he was saying woof 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 or something because there were dogs barking at him. It was kind of clear that this guy was disturbing the dogs in some way. So I was looking through my window, and keep in mind I had the blinds closed, but I opened up one of the blind things, and I was just observing this guy. He was basically dancing around. He was rapping, and it sounded like he was talking to himself. He was even waving down at cars that were passing by, but I couldn't really hear what this guy was saying. It kind of freaked me out, but I started laughing. I started commenting that this guy was being absolutely ridiculous. So, next thing I knew, I went back to my computer to just basically look back at my YouTube videos, and I decided to look outside the window again. And I didn't see him. I didn't see this guy. So, here's the next thing that I did. Out of curiosity's sake, I grabbed an old kendo weapon that I had. If you guys don't know what kendo is, it's basically traditional Japanese swordplay, and I used to study it back in when I was living in Japan. So I took my old kendo sword, which is called a bokken, and I went downstairs and I opened the doorway. So I opened the doorway and I was looking both ways on my street, and I saw the man. He was down the street and he was still singing, rapping, and dancing to himself. I had literally no idea what this guy was doing. So it was kind of clear that I should have pointed out earlier that this guy was drunk. I could kind of tell that this guy was drunk. He was either drunk or high on something, but I'm assuming he was drunk because he had a beer bottle. So then I was just observing this guy, and it looked like he was pointing at me, and it kind of spooked me a bit. And this guy was like pointing at me, and he was singing to me, I guess? I don't know. But it really kind of creeped me out. I really had no idea what this guy was going to do. So I immediately just went back inside the house and I locked the door. And I was about to head back upstairs and turn off the lights downstairs so that this guy doesn't try to attempt to go near our house. Again, curiosity killed the cat. I decided to open the door again just to be extra safe. And guess what? This man starts walking towards our house. And I immediately closed the door, locked the fucking door, and I turned off the lights, and I just waited in the darkness. I got really scared because I had no idea what this guy was gonna do. So then, next thing I knew, I was just waiting in the darkness, and I saw his silhouette just passing through our door. And then he went back to the same street where I saw him in my window view. So I quickly went back upstairs and I was still observing him. And I saw this guy, he was in the middle of the street doing something. He was still dancing and waving down and I guess heckling at cars. It really spooked me. And I was at that point, should I call the cops or something? Like, what should I do? I literally had no idea what to do. So I did pretty much the smartest thing that anybody would do. I called Catharsis. If you guys don't know who Catharsis is, she is my Filipina friend. I'm Filipino too, and she's Filipina, so you kind of get the sense here. So anyways, I immediately called her, and I was talking to her about my situation. And she got a little spooked. We were both kind of laughing, but she could kind of tell that I was a little scared. So what I did was I kind of told her that I didn't really want to bother my roommates because chances are that they were kind of sleeping. So I decided to put her on my phone because I definitely needed someone to hear me if I was to ever encounter this guy. So instead of my bokken, because I didn't want to look too suspicious, I actually opened up my backpack and I took out my pepper spray and I went back downstairs and opened the door. So I looked around and I didn't see the man, but I did see my neighbors. And I kept telling Catharsis, okay, I think I see someone. Let me see if I could talk to them. So I went down the road and I was just talking to this lady who happens to be our neighbor, and I was just telling her if she noticed this guy walking around our neighborhood doing God knows what. And it turns out this lady actually called the cops. On this guy because this guy was actually approaching her family because they were sitting out in their front porch, and they didn't know what he wanted, but it was kind of clear that this guy was intoxicated. So they immediately called the police. So I looked down the road and I saw the cops. I saw the cop car. They were probably just surveying our neighborhood just to make sure that this guy was was not around. Also, I apologize if I'm saying this again, but keep in mind that I live in a not a ghetto type neighborhood, but I do live in a pretty almost rundown neighborhood. Not a ghetto. It's definitely not a ghetto. Don't mistake that. So we do get some crazy stuff that occurs here. I apologize if I mumble on. So that was pretty much it, and I continued to have this conversation with Catharsis, and then I decided that hey, I'll make a YouTube video out of this, and maybe people would want to share any similar experiences. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much my story. I really don't know if I'm just exaggerating this entire story, but this situation did kind of scare me. I'm not gonna lie. This situation did kind of spook me. It was funny. It started out as being pretty funny because some guy was acting like a moron outside, but then it ended up getting a little scary when he kept on looking at our houses and like almost like he wanted something. I really had no idea what this guy wanted, but I really, really hope that this guy does not come across our neighborhood again. I hope either he is back at his house, passing out or whatever, or the cops caught him. So that's basically it. So let me know down in the comments if you think I was exaggerating or if you think that it's natural for me to be scared. Keep in mind, I'm a 23-year-old man. I'm 5'6" and I'm about 160 pounds, so I'm a pretty average, and of course I'm Asian Hispanic. So this encounter did kind of spook me, and I'm not really a tough guy, but I am very cautious. So if this next time this guy tried anything funny in our neighborhood, he definitely has some pepper spray with his name on it. So creepy guy down the road or whatever, let's not meet. This is totally not Reddit. Hey, you're still here. I just want to say a huge thank you once again for listening to my stupid little story. It was kind of freaky, but kind of funny. But honestly, I just wanted to give another big thank you to Catharsis. She was there with me in the situation, even though there was no one else here. I really shouldn't rely on anybody else, but you know what are friends for? So big shout out to her. Thank you so much, Catharsis. You are an amazing person. Thank you so much for being there with me and for just be the first to hear out my story. But honestly, guys, this story is also something that I just want to keep you guys in mind. Even though there may be some weird stuff that may happen in your neighborhood or in your city or whatever, anywhere in public or whatever, inside a building or whatnot outside, it's always a good idea to stay vigilant. You know, you don't know what kind of crazy stuff is going to happen. You don't know what this person might be doing. You don't know if this person might be carrying a weapon, or you don't know if this person has malicious intent. You don't know. But I know there's that term, don't judge a book by its cover, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't stay vigilant. You always have to be vigilant. You know, if you're very unsure, I definitely recommend carry something with you, like at least something like maybe an alarm. Make sure that you have a hotline to the police on your phone, or better yet, carry pepper spray, because that's what I do. That's what I'm doing right now. Because after hearing so many horror stories and after like seeing a lot of crazy stuff that I have kind of seen from crazy people, I always carry pepper spray with me. But once again, guys, stay vigilant and have an awesome day.